After 60, these are the only three things that truly matter. There are endless lessons to learn in this phase of life. But what we're going to share with you today are the three that really, truly matter. And you want to get these right.
You know, it really hit me because I just turned 60 this year. And in reflection, I started thinking about all the things that mattered, and I got pretty overwhelmed.
You did. Yeah, and I'm 68. And for the last 7 years, we've worked really hard. And you see you're on our YouTube channel. We've done 400 some odd videos on a lot of topics, ranging from the mundane to the really specific. And we're on this evolutionary journey in this phase of life to try to figure out how to get it right for us and then share with you what we're doing to get it right. And we try everything. We try all sorts of new ideas, nutrition, exercise, and we've worked on a lot of different things in our life.
And it's easy to get overwhelmed if you don't find time to kind of boil down to the things that really matter to you. We ran through probably 20 or 30 iterations of our list, our individual list, and then our joint list, and really finally, I think, nailed it, although it's still evolving because we just added a new one.
We did. So this video, maybe we'll do this video every year. What are the three things that really, truly matter? But right now, we're going to share with you what really, truly matters to us. And what's the first one?
So the first one is really, if you think about it, freedom isn't just financial freedom, although that's what's been banged into our head over the years. Freedom is also physical freedom. Have you saved enough financially to be set? Perhaps you're going to say yes. Maybe you'll say I could use more. We could all always probably say that. But have you worked on your health? Have you worked on your wellness so that you're physically free to say yes and do the things you want to do at this stage of the game?
And, during our career, we belonged to a gym. We hired trainers. We bought bicycles. We had a treadmill. We got a Peloton. But we never had the time. Always made excuses because we had to get up early and go to work. Jody did a lot of travel. I loved getting in the office early, and I couldn't do the work I wanted to do at home, so I would go. So we made every excuse in the world to not focus on our physical journey. So now the first thing that happens when you are in this phase of life, retirement, which we call the discovery years, you have all of this time. You have agency over your time. You can do what you want to do, who you want to do it with, and when you want to do it. And what we have done is made our physical journey priority number one. It's number one for me right now. And
absolutely.
I could say that my family is number one. I could say that spirituality is number one. I could say that relationships are number one. But for me, the number one thing I need to do to really get my act together and to be sound and solid and mentally aware is to work on my physical journey.
And I think that's the same for both of us. Even if you are intimidated by that statement, or maybe even intimidated by what a physical journey for you could or would look like, if you start slow, start light, start easy, start, short amounts of time, but start, because we have so many friends where either both of them or one of them or the other one of them just is not physically active, while the other one may be thriving and saying yes to things, and their freedom comes with that physicality. I just played golf with a beautiful lady yesterday, and she's a little worried about her spouse because he's not taking the physical fitness part of his life as serious as she wants him to. And, I think that's hard, and it can be hard on a relationship. Outside of physicality, I would say the next thing in that same bucket is fuel. Like, how are you fueling your body? And you can't fuel your body the same way you did when you were 20. You really can't, Mark. Mark's going to try to say he can.
No. What we're doing is sharing with you the number one thing that's important for us. And the number one thing, frankly, should be important for you is to work on physicality, nutrition, mindfulness, and all of that. And I'll tell you this too. It's really hard. It's hard to start because you don't know where to turn. When you walk into that gym, we belong to a gym in White Plains. What was the name of it?
New York Sports Club?
No, something like that. Lifetime Fitness.
Oh, right.
Amazing club. I mean, amazing. You walk in, there's a receptionist, there's a restaurant, there's a pool, there's tennis courts. You go upstairs and there's a weight room, and then there's the machine room, and then there's a yoga room, and all of this stuff. And you're like, where do I start? Where do I go? We got the clothing part right. We went shopping at Lululemon and we had that figured out. But it's like, where do you start? So wherever you are in your journey, you can always bring it up a notch. If you're not doing anything, again, you want to see your doctor first. Walk 10 minutes a day, turn it into 20 minutes a day, turn it into 30 minutes a day. Then maybe think about joining a gym. There's Silver Sneakers is a great resource to find gyms in your area. Join a yoga class, whatever, but do something. And I think that's the big thing here. For me, getting back to fuel and nutrition, I was a mess. I was McDonald's. I was Kentucky Fried Chicken. I was Chinese food. I was Oreo cookies, chocolate chip cookies. I have tried so hard to wean myself off of all of that. And I've done such a good job that now when I have Kentucky Fried Chicken, which the last time was a year ago or 2 years ago, I got violently sick.
Yeah.
I spent the whole night on the toilet. Not to get graphic, but that's what you have to do. And I realized all these years that I ate it, and I felt like that was normal. It's not. So I don't know what else it is besides fuel. And you've done a great job leading me down this path.
I would say, your physical wellness, the fuel that you put in your body, including hydration. As we age, I think sometimes we kind of lose our aptitude for drinking water, drinking, fluids, drinking, anything with electrolytes in it. And I think that has to be a core to this whole bucket of physicality and physical movement and physical wellness. And the other thing that I would say is we all have to, and we're sometimes not good at this part, giving ourselves time to recover. Yeah. So if we want to work out, if I play golf 2 days a week and we work out 5 days a week and we, we walk, because we have Ruby, we're always out walking. Sometimes your body is saying to you, I am tired. I just need to rest and recover, and my muscles need that as well. I think we could do a little bit better at scheduling in the rest days, which we don't tend to really do.
Well, the other thing is, too, you can find yourself doing well for a while, and then you fall off the horse, so to speak. I was an avid cyclist. And if you watch some of my old videos, I've done specific videos just on my cycling. And I bought, when we first got married 17 years ago, I bought us each a Trek bicycle. So down in Florida, I started to ride my bicycle on the road, and I rode it for 2 miles, and then 5 miles, and then 7 miles, and then 10 miles. And I had
That's not really how the story goes. You rode it for 2 miles and then called me with a flat tire.
Well, that's true.
Then you tried 5 miles and called me with a flat tire. So needless to say, the 17-year-old Trek bicycle didn't make it very long.
But I worked my way up, and I said to myself, once I reach 20 miles on this bike, I'm going to reward myself by getting an e-bike, which I got after riding 20 miles 3 times in a week. And I rode that for 2 years. And then I stopped. And I just stopped, and I couldn't get the momentum to ride again. Well, last Friday, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. It's been 18 months since I rode the bike, so I'm back to square one.
Right.
But I know it's good for me. I know it's important for me to do. I know it's good for my legs. I know it hurts because I was sore for 3 days. And so, when we don't rest and we remind ourselves, I guess the thing is, we talk about this a lot. This is important to us. This is one of the most important 3 things in our life because we know it's going to give us health, happiness, longevity, and health.
So really, just to sum it up, it's your physical freedom. It's your movement, it's your fuel, it's your hydration, it's your rest, your recovery. All of those things in one big bucket should be at the top of your list at this stage of the game.
And the second thing that should be at the top of your list is your relationships. So how can you have 2 things at the top of your list? Well, they really go hand in hand. Humans are animals. Are we animals?
Social animals.
Well, we're animals, but we need an active and engaging social life. We cannot survive on our own. It's just not a healthy place to be. Humans thrive when we have good, healthy, happy relationships. It starts here with us. It starts with our close friends. It starts with our kids. But really spending time in this phase going, okay, this is important. I've heard it. I've read about it. Let me really try hard to think about my relationships.
You know, it's interesting. I was in downtown Ocean City yesterday. I had to pay a bill, and I had to actually formally bring a check to pay the bill. So kind of
Took us 2 months to find the check.
kind of old school, but had to do it downtown Ocean City. So I'm on Asbury Avenue in Ocean City. And there's this cute little ladies shop, and I pop in, and there's this beautiful silver-haired woman behind the counter, and she starts chatting with me. And I said, "Oh my gosh, you have your fall clothes out." And she's like, "I know, fall's so exciting." I said, "Well, I don't really live where you can use a lot of fall and winter clothes, but gosh, don't you love the fall and winter clothes?" So we struck up a really nice conversation and came to find out that I also live in Florida and her daughter lives in Florida. So long way to tell you, she divulged to me the story of the conversation she had with her daughter when she moved to Florida. And her daughter said, "Mom, you have no plan. Dad's gone. You live in Ocean City, New Jersey. It's a seasonal community. You have no plan. You must move to Florida." And I said, "Well, what did you say?" She said, "What did I say? I got a plan." I said, well, talk to me. What was your plan? And she said, "Jody, my plan was I sold my house. I moved to a condo. I joined a book club. I learned how to play mahjong. I play cards on Wednesday nights. And when my daughter calls, you know what I tell her? I tell her I'm busy." And that's all she needed to hear. And I did not have to move to Florida.
I love that.
And I thought it was so pertinent to the conversation we were having today, because she found herself, and it was identified for her by our children, who are sometimes the mirror of reflection we don't want to see, right? So she identified that, you know, she didn't have the community that she once thought she had. So she found herself a little job, and she started changing things all by herself in her life. And it takes so much courage. I gave her so much credit. I stood there. I didn't actually end up buying anything. I stood there.
Really?
We exchanged book lists. And
Impossible.
we exchanged book lists and, you know, just different things. And I thought, what an amazing, courageous step she took at this phase of life in her discovery years.
I love that. You know, the whole thing about relationships can start in this way. So we've coached people through this process, is to get a piece of paper and start writing down a list of all your friends. Family included, family and friends. Just make a list. And then
A people list.
A people list. And then a next column could be how many years they've been in your life. And the third column could be certain buckets: family, friends, church friends, gym friends, golf friends. Kind of break them up into little buckets. And then the next column would be what is it?
What one word?
Well,
one emotion?
Emotion. What emotion do you have when you think of this person? Kindness,
Joy,
stress, anxiety, whatever it might be, write that down. And then the next column is what's your most recent memorable moment with that person. And then the last column is this. You go back over the list, and there's 3 categories. One is fade and dissolve. And that sounds awful, right? But who are the people in your life right now? And maybe they're distant names, so you don't even see them, so it doesn't really matter. But there could be people in your life right now that when you're with them, you think to yourself, I'm never going to get that time back. All he or she does is complain. They never ask me anything about me. They don't really care about me. They just care about themselves. Those people exist on this planet. Do you really want them in your life right now? So fade and dissolve means, I'm really not going to make an effort to work on them anymore.
You hear us talk a lot on this channel about habits. And maybe you've got some bad habits that you need to break yourself. We created a free download, is below, the 5 bad habits to stop while you're retired. So download that and use that as a tool to break some bad habits.
And the next category is really those relationships you just need to maintain for many reasons. You just need to maintain the relationship, put the effort in. Maybe it's the, crazy uncle that comes for Thanksgiving, or the, distant relative that shows up on your door, or, the friend that you see once a year because you have a reunion, whatever it might be. Those are not bad relationships. They don't take away. They're additive in their own way, in their own space, and you just maintain them.
The third bucket is what we call growth friends. And these are people on that list that you want to spend more time with. When you're with them, you feel great. They lift you up. They ask about yourself. They give you good ideas. They want to help you solve problems. They love being with you. And when you're done spending time with them, you come back. Like yesterday, you met 2 new people at golf, and we're going to talk about making new friends in a minute. But you were on fire with just excitement and passion, and like this new person you met, and you want to play golf with them. And, so meeting new friends, you have to get out. But the people on the list, those are the ones that you want to put in your phone under primary contacts. I forget the thing on your phone where you could put your closest friends or something. So you can go through favorites. Yeah. I'm not, I have a favorites list.
Yeah.
You're the number 1.
Oh, yay.
Am I number 1 in yours?
Yes.
Let me see.
You are.
Okay.
Might still have my mom's
and my
old
kids.
phone number.
I have my brother's number in there, and he's not with us anymore. But then I have some good friends, and when I'm going on a journey, when I'm driving or I'm sitting out front and I'm lonely, open that up, scroll, and I find somebody to call. Those are the people that really matter. So relationships are key. You want to clean up your friend list, to fade and dissolve, maintain as a college roommate. Maybe you see once a year and that's enough. And then there's a growth friends. And then the other bucket to talk about, and I struggle with this, is finding new friends in this phase. We've moved multiple times.
We have.
Since we left our careers. So we're now in Florida, Ocean City, and you're really good at this. I'm bad at it. But it's really important. And I try to work hard at it.
Well, the thing that I would say about making new friends, whether you're a self-described introvert or an extrovert, is it takes courage for all people, especially at this age. And, it took courage when you were in first grade to meet new people. It takes courage when you're 60 to meet people, right? So it takes effort. It takes courage. It takes persistence. But once you get into this pattern, I did play golf yesterday with 3 ladies I had never met before in my life, and we had the best time. We laughed, we told each other things. By the end, we had lunch together, and it gave me such momentum that when I came back to the house and had to find the checkbook to go pay the bill in person, when I went in and I met Charlotte, I was like primed and ready to have a new conversation again because I had spent 4 hours with these other ladies. So it's almost like your momentum builds once you get good at it, once you get good at meeting people and putting yourself in those situations. And I challenge Mark. Probably that's one of the things I challenge him the most on. He could spend a lot of time working on Retirement Transformed. He loves it. He loves you guys. He loves the content. He loves the structure and all the things. But that keeps him here in this room and doesn't get you outside doing those things. No. So that's probably the one push-pull that we really still struggle with.
Yeah. The last piece on relationships before we move on to the third one is repairing relationships that are broken, that are important to you. And we all have those in our life. We all have maybe some family we haven't talked to, maybe good friends that you had a fight. The last time you talked to each other, there was a disagreement and you haven't talked in years. It takes courage. It takes forgiveness. And it takes the ability to not carry regret around about not having reached out. So find a way to reach out and apologize, even if it's not your fault. I'm sorry we haven't talked in a long time. I'd love to find some time to chat with you. Leave them a voicemail, send them a text, and just try. At least you're making an effort. Because I think without an effort, people tend to fester in this feeling of, I miss this relationship. I know I screwed it up or they screwed it up, but I want to forgive them. I hope they can forgive me. But I think it's important to do as we age is to try to clean some of this up.
Yeah. And what's funny, when you peel back the onion on people who have maybe more than a couple of those toxic relationships, and you start to ask them, what actually happened 15 years ago that made you feel this way, or 10 years ago that made you feel this way. Oftentimes they're not remembering what exactly happened, or they're not remembering it truthfully. Their mind has kind of put their own version around it. And that to me is an indication that it's time to maybe bury the hatchet, so to speak, and, kind of move forward. I know we deal with that with some of the elderly clients that we that we coach and that we talk to, and that are carrying around a little bit of a burdensome, toxic relationship memory, and, trying to unlock that and get them to either push all the way through it or, set it aside and let it go.
Yeah, reframe what happened in your mind, rewrite the story, and then reach out to the person and feel good about it. My dad was not very good at forgiving. He just wasn't. I hand out forgiveness cards to complete strangers.
And I'm not very good at forgiving.
And you're not very good at forgiving.
I have to really work on it. And through, faith and scripture and all the things, I'm working really hard at it. And working really hard at perspectives and lenses and all the kind of psychological sides of it. But it doesn't come easy to a lot of people.
No, and we're in a marriage. We spend a lot of time together. And this is a core belief of ours that's completely different. And we don't fight about it, but it creates a little bit of like, you're like, how could you forgive that person? And I'm to you like, well, how could you not forgive that person? It's okay. I think it's okay to be different, and it's okay not to agree on this. But really, for those of you that are watching this, if you're a person that doesn't forgive really well, you've got to think about, what's more important, carrying around this stressful and anxious relationship that you want to fix, but you haven't made any effort, or trying to fix it.
Right.
All right. So last thing is, again, around freedom. When we get all of this free time, and it's one of the risks of retirement, you go from your busy, hectic, crazy career, and all of a sudden now you have freedom. You can do what you want to do, when you want to do it, who you want to do it with. If you don't have anything to do that you've worked on, any kind of plan, you're going to find yourself in a very short period of time just drifting. Just like a boat at sea without a rudder and no wind. You're just drifting. And that is dangerous.
It's one of the hardest concepts to really put your mind around, because you worked for decades, you had a boss, you had meetings, you had time clocks, you had schedules, you had shifts, whatever your job entailed, and you just wanted to get to that freedom spot. And then you get there, and the now what kind of hits you, and what do you do? So without a vision of what to do, you end up wasting a lot of time, and that's not good for your psyche. It's not good for your health that we talked about earlier, your movement, your body, your mental wellness, your physical wellness. So it starts kind of this seducing silent decline. This freedom bubble with nothing in it is very seductive, but it's also very empty,
I have a good friend who admittedly tells me that he gets up, has coffee, watches TV for about an hour and a half in the morning, and then he showers, gets dressed, sits in a really comfortable chair in his living room, opens up his phone, and he's in TikTok for 5 hours. 5 hours. Gets up to have lunch, goes back, gets up to go to the bathroom, gets back. I mean, he doesn't have any structure in his life. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have anywhere to go. So he just does that. And he admittedly tells me, I don't really like it, but it's kind of what I do. I learn a lot. I laugh. I send stuff to my friends. You've got to find a way to pivot. And there's a few things you can do to do that. Start being curious. Be curious about everything. Be curious read some different books. Try to find a hobby. What are some things that this guy could do besides TikTok that would bring him joy? I mean, he's a contractor by trade years ago.
An entrepreneur.
He could coach. He could help small little businesses start up, little contractors. He could go work for Habitat every Saturday. One Saturday, just go and do volunteer work. And I've talked to him about that, and he doesn't want to do it. But really start being curious, right? I mean, we talk about being curious a lot.
I agree. And I think kind of tying into the second point, if your curiosity can lead to contribution, it's like a win-win.
Yeah.
So like you said, if his curiosity maybe Habitat's not his thing, which is fine. But if he got on town council, let's say, and all of a sudden he was part of building and zoning commissions, or started a home watch company, where he could look after other people's homes while they're not in their vacation spots.
That's actually a great idea for him.
He would be good at that because he's got a contractor's eye and he'd be making a contribution. So I think when you can marry curiosity and contribution, you really get a home run.
Yeah, and the third thing to do in this area to make sure this freedom doesn't lead you into just drifting is bring back some structure. When we're in our career, we had so much structure and we didn't own our time. Our company owned our time. We had to go in at a certain period of time. We had to do certain things. We had meetings, we had deadlines, we had reports, and it was so much structure. We got home at night, we were exhausted. Now you don't have any structure and you're exhausted from doing nothing. So bring back some structure. Start waking up at the same time. Start the morning by drinking 12 ounces of water. Next thing you do, journal. 3 things you're grateful for. 1 self-affirmation, 1 thing about yourself that you're really proud of, and write down 3 things you're really excited about for today.
Really design your day.
And then schedule. Give yourself, if your morning is your great time, then schedule some things in the morning. If you're better in the afternoon, schedule some things. Go to the library. You're going to have your errands, but do some things outside of the normal stuff. But put some structure in there and start doing the same thing every day in the morning. And I think all of a sudden you'll start to see, wow, I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning to get up and have my water and my coffee and write down my little things in a journal.
And once you start a day, next thing you know, you're going to want to start a couple of days. And maybe you don't want to do 7 days a week because that feels way too structured. But start with 3, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Really anchor some things down on your day to make that day matter to you. Choose that day to matter. I think that makes a big difference.
So we talked about physical wellness, number 1. Number 2, we talked about relationships. And number 3, this freedom that you get with all of your time. Find a way to have some purpose in that freedom. We'd love for you to leave a comment below. What's one thing going on in your life right now that really has you excited and jazzed up about this new freedom that you have?
Because it really matters to you.
Let's answer some questions. So first one, these are questions from our YouTube channel that our team puts together. Hey, Markham and Jody, I'm Paul. I used to lead huge teams at work, but now I spend entire days without talking to anyone. I can imagine that's difficult. How do I shift from leading in the boardroom to building meaningful friendships without feeling like I've lost status?
Volunteer.
Well, so
I have a one-word answer.
Okay.
Volunteer.
Sure. But let's break it down. So without feeling like I lost status. So that's your old identity. So one of the things you need to do in this phase of life is find a new identity. Not I used to be the CEO or I used to be the board chair, but who are you now? Are you a volunteer? Are you a dad? Are you a good husband? Are you a gardener? Are you spending time starting a small business? You have to move out of what you used to do into this new phase. And then as far as finding friends and new relationships, it is hard, but you can find them by volunteering, by taking a gym class. If you take a gym class, and it could be a really simple one, anything, you're surrounded by other people that are there for the same reason. So you have something in common. You want to get healthier. And I don't necessarily think you should join a class where everyone's 22, but a mix of 22 and 30 years old and 50 years old and older than you is a great group of people to be at a gym and start to build some community.
Absolutely. I still go back to volunteer because, when you volunteer towards a mission that you're passionate about and you bring all those skills, those boardroom skills, those corporate skills, whatever you have with you, and you're contributing amongst people with the same kind of passion and mission, you have instantaneous community. Yeah. Instantaneous.
Yeah, that was a good question. What's
that
the next
is a
one?
good question. The next one. This is Regina, and I'm 66. You mentioned repairing old relationships, but what if the person I need to forgive has already passed? Is there still some healing that can be had?
2 things. What was it? There's you need to forgive. You can write them a letter, Don't mail it or send it, but just write them a letter.
Well, there'd be nowhere to mail it or send it.
You don't have to mail it, but they're gone, so you don't need to do anything with them. You need to do it for yourself.
I would journal.
So,
I would journal about it and really dissect what the problem was. I would do the left page, your lens, and the right page, and you might have to really put yourself in their shoes. Mm-hmm. Right page would be their lens. And then when you turn the page, what would a solution have been that maybe the left and the right page could have seen? And if that's still like a no-go, there's no solution, I would just, kind of look to your faith, whatever it might be, and, say, I forgive and I ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, I think forgiveness is a very powerful virtue, and it's not easy. It's not always easy. Sometimes it is, but...
I mean, I had that exact, to be completely vulnerable, I had that exact situation with my dad. So, and at the end of his life, it was during COVID, so we were all masked up, and we had to get special permission to go and see him, and he actually died of COVID with underlying Parkinson's issues. And, he just wanted to be forgiven at that moment. It was really important to him. And it was just my brother and I there, and I was like, I can't count the number of things that were running through my mind that I would have had to forgive him for if we were doing check boxes, but we didn't have that kind of time. And so I said, absolutely, you're forgiven, and I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And he passed. And that was hard because there were a lot of boxes that I needed to really wrestle with, but I didn't have the time.
Yeah. You were lucky you were able to do that.
I was.
Let's see. Hi, Markham and Jody. I'm Joyce. My husband doesn't believe in planning his days, okay? He thinks structure is work talk. We hear that a lot. How do I design a life with purpose when my partner just wants to coast? You need to think about yourself, so you need to do what's good for you. What I would suggest is you plan your day and do your things. Try to find at least one thing that you can do together, pull you together on one thing, whether it's an evening walk after dinner, a morning walk, whether it's going to the library once a week together to check out a book. I don't know. I can't think of what else. I mean, anything.
Well, go into your faith-based,
go to church together,
or synagogue.
But find one thing that you can do together, and you keep doing your things. And you don't want to be the nag that he says, "Oh, now you're nagging at me all the time to do this." Just find one thing you can do together. Ask him, what's the one thing that we can do as a couple each week that would excite you?
Well, and the other thing I would say is, there are 7 days in a week. So maybe 5 days you do your plan, and there's 2 days, and they don't have to be back to back, but there are 2 days where you say, okay, I'm open to, what do you want to do? What does coasting look like? Well, I'm happy to coast for 2 days, which is hard if you're a doer and a goer and a structured person. And then I would continue to invite him to some of your planned and structured events.
Yeah, love that.
If you enjoyed this video,
you're going to like this one too.
Solid nutrition, lots of protein, leafy green vegetables, minimizing the carbs to the best of your ability, all those things. So if you have daily movement plus nutrition, it's going to even further prevent decline. And if you add one more thing, which is hydration, it's like a win-win-win.